it's Crafty Rhea and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be recycling this thank you card. I received it in one of the swaps that I was in and I thought I could reuse it and jazz it up a bit and make it really pretty. So what I have to work with that, I have a 5.5 by 4.25 card base. I found this pink glitter card stock and I cut down a piece that was 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's 1/8 of an inch smaller than the background. I found some pretty ribbon in my stash. I don't know that I've ever really used this particular ribbon, but I thought it went really good with the pink. And I went through my dies and I found this size die will perfectly cut out the white part of the thank you. And I wanted to embellish it even further, so I got my scallop dies and I'm thinking, yes, this one would make a good scallop around that circle. It would give it a good edge, because I think the smaller one will be too small. Yeah, the smaller one will be too small. You won't be able to see the scalloped edge. So we have those to work with. So I'm going to start, of course, by cutting off the front of the card, as I always do. Then I'm going to hold it on here and see if I need to trim it down. I do need to take off a little bit from each side. And then see how that looks. There we go, and we have a really nice pink glittery border around the edge. And I will leave this card blank inside so I can handwrite a sentiment. So I'm going to cut this piece out. So I want to line that up really good. Get my die cutter up here. This is the Big Shot die cutter. I've had it in my stash for quite some time. So I'm going to take this and line up the die. Let's do it on camera where you can see it, around that circle, and I will hold it down with some of this blue painter's tape. You can use washi tape, or they even make a purple painter's tape, whatever you have available to you. So I'm going to hold that down on there because I want it to cut in that exact same spot. Let's bring my die cutter back here. I have the magnetic cutting plate, my old well-loved bottom plate, and I will put this down. Sometimes the magnetic plate does not hold the die where I want it. It'll skip over some, so I always put the blue tape on it, and then my top plate, and then I will just run it right through. And that cut perfectly. I always like to look at the back before I take the tape off in case I have to run it through again. And I will carefully take the tape off. And I usually keep the tape, a couple pieces of tape, hanging out on my die cutting machine so it's available whenever I need it. I reuse it. And that worked out really good because it has that little bit of stitching in the die. I don't know if you can see that. It has a little stitching, and the stitching came out onto the pink. Very, very good. And then I do want to cut one of these out of the pink. So what I will do to save paper, I will cut it right out of this, the center of the piece I'm going to use for my mat. And I don't need to put any tape on this because I don't need it to be in an exact spot, just sort of right in the middle. And my metal plate or my magnetic plate will hold it just fine. There we go, and that cut out really well, and I will set that aside. I always store my magnetic plate and my clear pads kind of in the middle. It helps to keep the pads from warping, and then they're always handy when I need them. Get myself straightened up over here. I store my dies, my Spellbinders dies, on the original cardboard that it came on, and on the back what I did was I taped it together so it stays shut, and then on the back I just put a magnet, and then all my dies stay on the back really, really, really good. So that's what I do. Now these dies, I don't have a magnet yet. I just ordered some from Amazon, and I'm going to make more storage holders. I have a lot of dies. So these are my circles, so I just kind of keep them together in the bag. There we go. So that's how that's going to look. I think that's kind of pretty. Okay, and I will mount this onto the white cardstock. And then that will go there, and then this will go over that, and you'll never know that that piece was cut out of the middle. So what I want to do first is put my ribbon down on here. So I'm going to cut a piece off. That'll give me a little bit to wrap around the back. Pull the wires out. I find that my ribbon lays flatter if I take the wires out. And I'm not sure that this has, I don't think it has a front or a back. So I will adhere the ribbon down on here. I'm going to see if I can get the adhesive to go onto the actual ribbon. Yep. I think it just makes it easier. Just going to try to eyeball it to get it kind of in the center of the card. I will add a little bit more to this so I can fold it over. And then I will adhere it down to the card back. And since this is glitter paper I'm adhering it to, and this glitter paper is not a rough glitter, it's shiny glitter, but I'm going to add a little bit of art glitter glue to this just to make sure I get a really good bond onto that glitter paper. So I'll have both tape and glue. Get it in the corners really good. And then I will adhere this to the center of that, making kind of a rosette or a flower, if you will. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this one because it's round and it's just easy to smear that glue all the way around it rather than trying to run tape on that. And it gives me an extra second or so to line it up and center it. And then I'm going to push it down. Put my pin back in the center of my art glitter glue. I think I will use a little bit of foam tape on this just to give it some dimension. I happen to have it handy. Now normally when I do stuff like this I speed it up. Let me know in the comments below if you like when I speed up these slow and boring parts, like when I'm putting on my bling or cutting something out or doing the foam tape, or if you'd rather I just do it in real time. Let me know what you think. This video is not going to be as long because I'm only doing this one card, so I didn't speed it up. So there we go. We have thank you on some glitter with some really pretty ribbon, which is a good contrast to the glitter. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think of this card. If you like it, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join. Also, I'd love to have you over in my Facebook group, Create with Crafty Rhea. The link is below in the comments. And I'd love to have you over there so we can share our work and I can see what you're doing as well. Thanks again for joining me today. And until next time, go get crafting. Bye-bye.